Hello, strangelings. Welcome back to my parlor. Now, today I want to have that conversation I was talking about having last week. Now, of course, we're talking about the 7 deadly sins. And I am talking about the 7 deadly sins for a very specific reason today. I know that some of the people who watch me aren't Christian. You're in other religions. And some of you are atheists altogether, just like me. So, obviously, this is the way it's presented in the modern world is a Christian concept. But I am going to actually inform you guys that through my long, exhaustive years and years of studying history, and I mean long, exhaustive years because of the fact that me and my mother who passed away when I was about to turn 23, so in 2003, me and my mother, way back when I was a little kid and a teenager, were big on looking through history for fun. We would find out about something in a movie, then we'd want to know the real history of it, or feel like it's a good idea to find out the real history of it. Or, there was a lot of, with my PTSD, there was a lot of studying history to see how people historically did things before modern technology, because of the fact that me, my mother, and my grandfather had all decided that personally being prepared for anything was going to probably be my best bet for combating my PTSD, because most of my PTSD is about protecting me and other people as far as my brain is concerned. That's why I repeatedly tell people things safety-wise that I know they know, but my brain won't let them not know that they need to know. Anyhow, so today I wanted to talk about the 7 deadly sins. Again, far from just a Christian concept. However, Christians have presented and wrapped everything as if it is all about their religious beliefs. No offense, guys, but if you look at the history of your religion, that is how your religious leaders have treated it. Everything has to be under the guise of Christianity so that Christianity can be the all religion. So, anyhow. So today I wanted to talk about the 7 deadly sins. 7 deadly sins are pride. Pride would be self-love to the point of ignorance of the needs of others. Pride would be best described in the modern term as narcissism. Because pride isn't just, I am so proud, I think I can do anything and be anything, and you can't do this, that, or the other. No, this is talking about a pride that makes you feel like you deserve over anyone else, no matter what. Greed is, of course, the second sin. Greed is a problem because it's an excess of material wealth when others, and especially when I should say, others are in absolute need, like dire need, like moral peril kind of need. Third one is wrath. Wrath is anger, but much more than anger. Wrath is anger turned monster. Wrath is an anger that you use as a tool to hurt others, whether they deserve it or not. Envy, which was, of course, we all know is a jealousy of the success and such of others. Envy is a jealousy so deep that you would do almost anything to get, to be, to have, to be where you want to be, period. Lust. Now, lust itself is not necessarily bad, except for when lust is all you know. You see, when lust disguises itself as love, it can hurt the other person in the situation, the other person in the relationship. Because in a relationship, most of us are looking for love. We're looking for somebody who wants to care for us and about us as much as we want to care for and about them. When we're looking for love. Love is a deep care and admiration. You don't have to be romantic to love. I tell my friends I love them all the time. I tell you guys I love you at the end of every video because it's true. Because love is a connection, an understanding, a want for the best care of said person. That's what love is. Lust, however, is solely going after the idea of the entertainment, the enjoyment of this moment. However, never having a consideration for any thoughts, feelings, or anything of the person you're lusting after. Lust is an ignorance of their self, while you see them as whatever you would love for them to be. Gluttony. Of course, we know gluttony is overtaking. Gluttony is a greed, but more specifically with, more specifically tending to be connected to food and drink. However, gluttony can be other things as well. Gluttony can be almost the same as greed. Gluttony can be a greed of its own. And of course, sloth, which is literally not just laziness, but willfully, actively choosing not to move. It's choosing to, if you have a need currently to put a roof over your head, sloth would be choosing to either very, very, very slowly take care of getting that roof eventually, or even not at all, hoping someone else will do it for you. I'll just hide under this rock for a while, kind of thing. So, this is the 7 deadly sins, as put to us by the Catholic Church. And of course, as we know, the 7 deadly sins are old. They are older than Christianity. They are at least as old as Judaism. Now, I'm pretty sure they are older than Judaism, but they are at least that old. Now, I wanted to talk today to you guys about these various sins, and mainly because there is actually a connecting factor between them, and there is actually a reason why you should hold them in your mindset as sins. And if you're anything like me, maybe hold them in your mindset as actual evils. Now, of course, when these things are practiced very small, little bits at a time, it's one thing. But when this is our lifestyle, it becomes very, very bad. One, the things that are produced from the 7 deadly sins have a tendency to come out not so well, for one thing. For another, if you are engaging in the 7 deadly sins, you are likely to not actually be taking note of anyone or anything around you, their thoughts or feelings, which is a problem in itself in a social creature like human beings. We are actually built for society. We are built to spend time together, to enjoy each other's company. But the biggest one of all, the most interesting, and the reason why I'm making this video, is because if you think about each of the 7 deadly sins, you think about psychology of a human and the 7 deadly sins, then you may start to realize that each one of these 7 ways of being are traits and tendencies that actually are now humanly known to set your mind upon addiction. That's right, guys. Addiction. The 7 deadly sins are about addiction. You see, if you are so prideful, if your ego is so huge about every single time you go to the basketball court, you're going to win every single time. Your pride is so huge about it. You are more likely to do things like gamble, bet on your game. You're more likely to get cocky and end up losing to somebody who may be possibly better than you. I mean, if we're talking about the tortoise and the hare was full of pride. He was full of so much pride that he would win the race, that he chose to do the things that lost him the race. And that can be addictive, just like adrenaline. In fact, many times, most of these will cause adrenaline. Greed, especially. I mean, the adrenaline rush when you collect that next thing in your set. Wrath. You're so angry, you go out and you tell off that man who just, tapped your car. That's wrath. You tell him off so freaking hard. Get that adrenaline pumping. I have seen people who have gone from being the nicest person in the world, just telling somebody off here and there for doing something wrong, go to straight constantly have to be in someone's face about something. I have. In fact, my PTSD almost has me that way when I'm at full load of stress. Luckily, I haven't been at a full load of stress for at least decades. Even my child, as hard as they tried, couldn't get me that stressed out. Because that stressed out is a very violent stressed out. Envy. If you are envious of someone and you are envious of someone's, say, constant ability to have great outfits, you're going to go and you're going to do some good stuff for yourself. You're going to go and try to make some money to get some outfits. If we're going the right way, you're going to go out there, you're going to try to make some money to get some outfits. But then you're going to have to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, because that envy sees another outfit and another outfit and another. Oh my God, how can she have that cute haircut? Until you're working yourself to death just to keep up with the Joneses. Lust. Well, we all know. In this age of the 4B movement and the manosphere trying to keep women silent about the things they don't like. We know exactly how lust can be addictive. Exactly. Because when someone chooses to find a partner for a monogamous relationship, and then they continue to see that monogamous partner as only an option, that's one of the ways lust can be addictive and can hurt severely your entire life. Because, of course, that person who keeps being seen as an option, keeps being treated as an option, well, oh, look at all these other, people, bodies I could watch, if it's all about what I could have sex with, especially, then that does become a severe addiction. We all know, we've all heard so many times about sex addiction. And sex addiction is primarily about lust. You see, lust is that first initial thing you feel when you see someone who will become your love. The first thing you feel is, ooh, I like this about that person. I wonder how nice they are. Whether it's a relationship or in bed, it's still a lust. And that lust in a healthy relationship then evolves into love. And in the best ones, pure love. We have to be together 24 hours a day isn't as toxic as you think. Pure love also includes that. A love where you can be around each other 24 hours a day, or when you're not around each other, you are thinking about them at least some of the time, not all the time, not even half the time. But every so often they cross your mind and you get a smile. And no matter what anyone ever says to you, it's going to be almost impossible for them to remove you from your person because it's pure love. Not that there aren't people who try. Sloth, gluttony, those are both very obvious as to how they cause addiction. Gluttony, of course, continuing to eat more than you need to, again and again. First off, your stomach has a particular size. Me personally, ever since I had the Norplant in my arm, have had trouble eating. So of course my stomach is very small. And when I'm very, very, very hungry, it might take me an hour or two to eat just to make sure I can get all the food in because my stomach is so small. But if you participate in gluttony, then your stomach will expand to a much larger point. Even, by the way, if you are not a larger person. An example of this is when I was a teenager, I used to eat just as much as my husband did. My husband ate out of boredom. He was a very gluttonous child because of him trying to keep himself satiated, because that was an effect of his abuse. The feeling of not feeling satisfied with the world, not feeling like the world has his best interests in mind. And that made him a bit gluttonous as a kid. I mean, he likes to say, well, the fat kid's still in here when I say, are you sure you want to eat that much? But he doesn't eat anywhere near as often as his mother made it seem. When he is, of course, in a satiated, happy life. So, and sloth, of course, trust me, people are addicted to laziness. It is a real thing. I struggle with catatonia personally, so I believe it's called catatonia, where I will have trouble actually moving in general. And that is mostly an emotional thing. That is mostly when I am super, 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 super high in my depression levels. The higher my depression levels, the harder it is for me to get out of bed. Just like the higher my stress levels, the harder it is for me to be nice, especially to people who are not necessarily being nice to me. So, all right. I think that's about all I really wanted. I'm so sorry about hitting the mic, guys. I think that's all I really wanted to say today on the 7 deadly sins. I wanted to reiterate that actually the 7 deadly sins are something we should actually take note of, even if we're not Christian, even if we're so far down the rabbit hole that we are like me and atheist. And there's that damn fly. Because these sins aren't just things that hurt the people around us. They aren't just things that make life for the people around us a little less convenient or easy. I mean, gluttony, you're taking resources. If you're living in a group and you are eating more than your share, you're taking resources from everybody. So of course you're hurting them that way, but there are deeper ways that you hurt not only other people, but yourself with these sins. And I say that because addiction hurts. Now, I know it's funny hearing that from me, being somebody who has a non-addictive personality, weirdly enough. But guess what, guys? They did try to treat me with Ritalin, and I was addicted for a little while, and it was bad. It was a 2-week ordeal that felt to me like years, and lost so many years worth of memory out of my brain. But I was so addicted that I screamed that I needed my pills when my mother said, "Oh, I'll be just a minute," because she didn't want to just give them to me. And probably was a really good thing she didn't. I can honestly tell you, when I was on Ritalin, I felt like I was out of my own head. Now, I smoke cannabis pretty regularly nowadays. And let me tell you guys, when I was on Ritalin, it felt like the nightmare version of what I feel on cannabis. It felt like about 10 times more heavy, at least, if not 100. And I couldn't even tell you where all I was going for sure. When I was walking down the hall in school, I almost punched my friend for little to nothing. So, yeah, I can tell you, not only through my small experience with addiction, but also with my experience watching other people deal with their addictions. Whether it's an adrenaline addiction, a caffeine addiction, meth addiction. Yes, I have known people with meth addictions. Alcohol. I've known a lot of alcoholics. A lot. I have many in my family. We just, a few years back, lost one of them. And, yeah. I'm not sure. My young cousins, I don't know how many of them are still drinking regularly, but we all used to party together, so at least some level of alcoholism is in almost everyone in my family. Yeah. And if you can learn the fact that all of this leads to addiction, and if you can keep in your head that they are 7 deadly sins, no matter what you believe, it might make a navigation of the world just a bit easier. And I know, especially things like sloth, envy, and pride, they're really hard to not step too far into. But here's the thing. There's a difference between being proud of your work and feeling so much pride that you feel like you can step over somebody, that you are better than them. There's a huge difference. It's okay to lust as long as that lust is in measure. If you are out there dating, you're on the dating market, and you want to be sexually active, or you just want to lust after non-sexual stuff, that's fine. As long as you take it in measure and you allow that lust to kind of just sit on your face like this. You let that lust sit on your face like this, guys. The feathering of my 2 sides is so deep that it doesn't like to center at all. Sorry, guys. But it's like this, guys. I can see you through this hair. I can see the truth of the camera that is my audience while I'm making this video. But I can still also see my hairs. My hairs represent the lust. My ability to continue to see represents the fact that lust without logic is the detrimental part. If you are just going out to have fun, make sure you're keeping it at that. But if you're going out for love, but instead you only go after those one night stands, you're going to have a lot of problem in your life. Because you're going to feel like no one loves you for you. And everything that's going on is going to back it up. But it's mostly going to be because you're choosing lust over love more often than not. Of course, when it comes to lust specifically, this is why I always recommend, and I don't care how I sound like a grandma for saying it. I don't care. I've always recommended never sleep with someone that you intend to have a full committed relationship with for at least the first month. So that way you guys get to know each other actually before worrying about the physical. Especially considering how it can lead to a relationship that is pretty much almost all about the physical if you choose to only make it about the physical. Well, anyway, guys, I could point out a whole bunch of reasons why these sins should be kept as sins in your mind, too. I really could. But I do want to get out of here. I don't want to be here forever. And I already said I'm about ready to get out of here. So, with that, guys, don't forget, it doesn't matter who you are. I love you. Take care of each other. And I will see you guys in the next video.